जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। परमहंसकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की, इसका अनफाउंडर आचार्य शीला प्रभुपाद की, नाम आचार्य शीला हरिदास ठाकुर की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada की जय। Hare Krishna. So welcome to this morning Bhagavatam class and happy Ekadashi everyone. So today we are reciting the words from Canto 4, Chapter 8, Dhruva Maharaj leaves home, and the text number 44. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 44. Pranayamena trivruta Pranendriya manomalam Saner vyudusya abhidyaye manasa guruna gurum pranayamena trivruta pranendriya manomalam saner vyudusya abhidyaye manasa guruna gurum pranayamena trivruta pranendriya manomalam saner vyudusya abhidyaye manasa guruna gurum. Prabhuji's. Pranayamena trivruta pranendriya malomanar sane vyudasya vidayet manasa guruna gurum pranayamena trivruta pranendriya manomalam saner vyudasya vidayayet manasa guruna gurum pranayamena trivruta pranendriya manomalam sane vyudasya vidyayet manasa guruna gurum. Mataji's. Pranayamena trivruta pranendriya manomalam saner vyudasya vidyaye manasa guruna gurum प्राणायामेन त्रिवृता प्राणेन्द्रिया मनोमलम् शनैर्व्यूढस्या विद्यायेत् मनसा गुरुना गुरुम्. Okay, word to word meaning. Pranayamena, by breathing exercises. Trivruta, by the three recommended ways. Prana Indriya, the life, air and senses. Mana, mind. Malam, impurity. Sanay, gradually. Yudasya, giving up. Abhidyayet, meditate upon. Manasa, by the mind. Guruna, undisturbed. Gurum, the Supreme Spiritual Master Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Please repeat. After sitting on your seat, practice the three kinds of breathing exercises and thus gradually control the life air, the mind and the senses. Completely free yourself from all material contamination and with great patience begin to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Please listen. In this verse, the entire yoga system is described in summary, and special stress is given to the breathing exercises for stopping the disturbing mind. The mind by nature is always oscillating, for it is very fickle, but the breathing exercise meant to control it. This process of controlling the mind might have been a very possible in those days, millions of years ago, when Dhruva Maharaj took to it. But at the present moment, the mind has to be fixed directly on the lotus feet of the Lord by the chanting process. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one immediately concentrates on the sound vibration and thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord, and very quickly one is elevated to the position of samadhi or trance. If one goes on chanting the holy names of the Lord, which are not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, naturally his mind becomes absorbed in thought of the Lord. It is here recommended to Dhruva Maharaj that he meditate on the Supreme Guru or Supreme Spiritual Master. The Supreme Spiritual Master is Krishna, who is therefore known as Chaitya Guru. This refers to the Super Soul who is sitting in everyone's heart. He helps from within, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, and he sends the Spiritual Master who helps from without. The Spiritual Master is the external manifestation of the Chaitya Guru or the Spiritual Master sitting in everyone's heart. The process by which we give up our thoughts of material things is called Pratyahara, which entails being free from all material thoughts and engagements. The word abhidyayet, which is used in this verse, indicates that unless one's mind is fixed, one cannot meditate. The conclusion, therefore, is that meditation means thinking of the Lord within. Whether one comes to the stage by the Ashtanga Yoga system or by the method recommended in Shastras, especially for this present age, to constantly chant the holy name of the Lord. The goal is to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Krupa Bhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Welcome once again. So we are continuing the chapter Dhruva Maharaj leaves home. So currently we are discussing the conversation between Dhruva Maharaj and Narada Muni. So Narada Muni, because Dhruva Maharaj was going into the forest to perform meditation based on her mother's instruction, and by mercy of Lord, Narada Muni met Dhruva Maharaj, and there was a conversation happening between Narada Muni and Dhruva Maharaj. We have seen from past few verses. So the key message from the discussion of that Narada Muni and Dhruva Maharaj is that even though we have material desires, still we need to go to the Supreme Lord. Instead of going to demigods and any other worshipping, better to go to Supreme Lord. And second thing is, we should be very clear in our thoughts. Like when Narada Muni told Dhruva Maharaj, okay, you are very small child, 5 years old boy, it's very difficult to perform this kind of austerity. So you don't follow this process. But Dhruva Maharaj was very determined. Yes, I know mother told instruction, this is the path, and he strongly got the conviction, and he said, okay, I will not deviate from the process. I will choose, this is the only path I wanted to follow. That is what Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekehe Kurunandana we hear in Bhagavad Gita, right? So we should have a single-minded focus to achieve our goal. It's whether it's spiritual or material. And the third one more important key message from this we can understand is, like, we should not find any irregular. Like, we have to achieve our goal, but for that we don't need to find any shortcuts. We strictly have to follow the process, recommended process defined. So these are the key messages which we can learn from the previous verse, whatever we discussed. Now in the today's verse, now before this text 43, Narada Muni gave the instruction saying that, okay, you go to the Madhuvan forest, take the bath in Yamuna river and do the austerity he was recommending. In this verse, he is elaborating more what he has to do. If you read the translation, after sitting on your seat, practice the 3 kinds of breathing exercises and then gradually control the life air and the mind and the senses. Completely free yourself from all material contamination. With a great patience, begin to meditate on Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Narada Muni is clearly saying how he has to do the Ashtanga Yoga. He was explaining. So in this purport also, there are many comparisons made between Bhakti Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. So we will also, I was listening few lectures from His Grace Radhesham Prabhu and Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. They have nicely give different perspective on this, the comparison between these two yogas. So I will try to summarize those 2 lectures message I would like to present in this class today. So they have give it some different perspective on this comparison. So it's better to listen. So though we heard many lectures on this Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga comparisons, so still in relation to today's context of the verse, we will discuss the same thing and we'll try to see some different views on that differences, like a comparison. So mainly, if you see the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, like the first 3 chapters clearly mentioned that they summarize the difference between the Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. The Sukadeva Goswami, clearly mentioned, described the difference between the Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, and he gave his conclusion that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost when you compared with Ashtanga Yoga. So the conclusion Sukadeva Goswami gave that, right, what was the reason for to making this conclusion? There was a discussion happening between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami in the second, from the beginning, the first canto, and at the end of the first canto, Shukadeva Goswami was asking the question to Parikshit Maharaj. Sorry, other way. Parikshit Maharaj was asking the question to Shukadeva Goswami, and Parikshit Maharaj, the main questions was, since we know the Parikshit Maharaj position, he was leaving the body in 7 days, right? So, keeping that view in his mind, he was asking, what is the ultimate responsibility of the human being, all the living entities all the times? Like when we are living properly, what is our responsibility? And when we are leaving the body also, what is our responsibility? Both sides. When we are living properly, what is our responsibility? And when we are leaving the body, what would be our responsibility? In relation to this contact question, Shukadeva Goswami was giving the responses. So in that he was, the two questions, how to live and how to leave the body. Both are the questions which Shukadeva Goswami was, Parikshit Maharaj was asking to Shukadeva Goswami. And then Shukadeva Goswami was giving the answers. In relation to that, he was saying, mainly he was talking about the responsibility of human beings. So we have got this human body, and we have to keep the body and soul together. We have to perform the various material activities. That is for our bodily level. We have to perform those activities, but we should not over endeavor. That is where he was describing between the Gruhamedi and Gruhastha. We are not going into that details, but at summary, he was mentioning that it is, we need to perform the material activities, but at the same time, we need to see the requirement. What is our basic needs? To fulfill that, we have to perform our material activities. But at the same time, we need to be inquisitive on our spiritual path. We need to understand what is our existence, what is the soul, what is the super soul, what is the relation between this kind of spiritual knowledge. We need to be we should look for obtaining those knowledges. Then Shukadeva Goswami recommended that we need to take the shelter of Krishna. And then what is the meaning of taking shelter of Krishna? What we do? When we take the shelter of Krishna, as per Shukadeva Goswami recommendation, we need to chant. We need to hear the past tense of Krishna. We need to chant. We need to remember. As you constantly hear and read, then you will start remembering the Krishna all the time. These are the process we have to follow. This is where Shukadeva Goswami is explaining about the importance of Bhakti Yoga. So all we need to in the Bhakti Yoga is chant, hear, and remember Krishna, glories and pastimes. This is what, and by doing this, one will come out of this material mode. That's what the Shukadeva Goswami was saying. This conversation leading to that point that, okay, Ashtanga Yoga is, Bhakti Yoga is superior than Ashtanga Yoga. And then he gave the examples. It's not just scriptural injunctions. People who practiced this Bhakti Yoga also, they got success. Then Shukadeva Goswami giving his own example. Shukadeva Goswami was impersonal. He was meditating on Brahman level, right? Then when he got an opportunity to listen Srimad Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva, then he was completely transformed. Then even we have one more example. King Katwanga, he helped demigods to fight against demons, and then demigods were happy with the service of Katwanga, and then they were asking, what do you want to? They wanted to give a boon, benediction. So then demigods were. Then Katwanga asked, how much time left to leave this body? Then they said 1 muhurta. I think it's 1 muhurta means around 45 minutes something. So then he said immediately, okay, you give me the opportunity to quickly send me to the Buloka. That is where I will perform my bhakti. And then he did the same thing, and he went back to Godhead. So this is the Bhakti Yoga process. This is Shukadeva Goswami was telling to Parikshit Maharaj. And this Bhakti Yoga is for everyone, not just for a few selected people who are devotees. No, but Bhakti Yoga is for all, even karmis, jnanis, everyone can be following this Bhakti Yoga, and they can go back to that. Now, we also know that the Srimad Bhagavatam is mainly for Bhakti process, right? How to develop the Bhakti, all the practical people who followed the Bhakti path, and we hear their stories and we get inspiration. Then in many cases, Ashtanga Yoga also touched. Like in our previous canto, third canto also, when we heard, right, when Kardama Muni and Sankhya philosophy, all those things we had touched briefly on Ashtanga Yoga. When Srimad Bhagavatam is talking everything on Bhakti, then what is the necessity of including Ashtanga Yoga in the Srimad Bhagavatam? That is one important question. The main reason is when Sukadeva Goswami is speaking Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, there are many great sages assembled, right? So many people, everybody is listening Srimad Bhagavatam along with other Parikshit Maharaj. But there are many other sages. They are not bhaktas. They are Ashtanga yogis. So for their purpose, to make them happy that okay, now Sukadeva Goswami is only talking on Bhakti Yoga, is not emphasizing on Ashtanga Yoga. Then Sukadeva Goswami started speaking Ashtanga Yoga, but to make them happy. But the conclusion he made is, again, he made it, even though he touched briefly on Ashtanga Yoga, but he finally concluded that the Bhakti Yoga is more supreme, it's the topmost than Ashtanga Yoga. So this is the reason why we see, even wherever the Ashtanga Yoga topic comes into the picture in the Bhagavatam, again the conclusion will be, we will be getting the conclusion that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost, Ashtanga Yoga it's not suitable for the current age. In this material, current conditioned stage, we are not able to, we cannot follow this Ashtanga Yoga process so easily. And another that is this is one way of seeing why the Ashtanga Yoga, the connection between the Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, why our scriptures are referring both. These are the reasons. Like why means there are many, even in our current condition also, in current state, if you go and see people that okay, chant Hare Krishna, how many people will straight away accept? Right? Their nature is different. They are conditioned. They will be having a different mindset. Because in the current world, people will be following different paths. Not everybody is following the Bhakti path, which we know by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we got the opportunity, we are able to follow, practice. But not everybody having that, they are fortunate, right? They in their mind, they will be having different minds, the different thoughts. So nobody will accept this path straight away. Similarly, at that stage also, since many yogis are there in the assembly of Sukadeva Goswami, and they will not be straight away accepting that. So that's where he made a comparison, and at the same time, he made final recommendation. It is Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. The next thing is, whenever we see the like a Krishna or Vrindavan, anything which is connected to Krishna, it is always pure and clean. Like if you see Ganga, river Ganga, it emanated from lotus feet of Lord. So that it is always pure. Govardhan, it is also pure. Many people visit Vrindavan, do parikrama, right? Why it is again, it is also pure. The reason it touched the fingertip of Krishna. Similarly, Vrindavan, everywhere, Vrindavan is also very pure because it was Krishna walked on that land of Vrindavan. So whatever is connected to Krishna, it is always pure. So whenever if you suppose in the material sense, if today it's a winter, generally we check what we do, we take the temperature. What is the temperature? It's cold, it's 7 degrees, 5 degrees, 6 degrees, right? We have a temperature, thermometer will be there, some temperature will be measured, or the pressure, barometer, like something we have various measures available to measure the relevant units, the quantities. But similarly, what is the measure to holiness of a land? How we can measure? So the holiness of a land can be measured based on how deeply it is connected to Krishna. Example, Srila Prabhupada was in New York, and some of his disciples, the devotees, the hippies, they took him to the Bowery. It's not very good place. So all the hippies and many, it's not a neat and pure or clean place. But the devotees are telling Prabhupada, they are ashamed to bringing you to this place. Then Prabhupada told, no, this place is Vaikunta. Then hippies were surprised. Why this is Vaikunta? Because wherever devotees chanting the holy name, that is like a Vaikunta. It's not, even though materially it is not a clean or it is not a right place to live, but wherever devotees are chanting, that place is like a Vaikunta. And another example is, there was sometimes one conversation was happening between Mother Parvati and Lord Shiva. And Mother Parvati was asking Lord Shiva, why there were so many people glorify Vrindavan. What is the reason? The straight away answer we can think of is, okay, it's a Krishna's land. Krishna took birth. That is the reason it's everybody glorify Vrindavan. But what Lord Shiva told? No. But the reason what Lord Shiva told, all the Vrajavasis in Vrindavan, they always constantly chant Krishna's name. That is the reason the land is very pure and holy. So the reason not just Krishna took birth, but because of the land, the people constantly chanting the holy name of Krishna, that is where the reason the land is very pure and potent. So this is where the thing, right? We have the verse, Naham tishtami vaikunta yoginam hridayeshva tatra tishtami narada yatra gayanti mad bhakta. So wherever my bhaktas sing my glories, that is the place where I reside. Now I am neither residing in Vaikunta nor residing in Yogi's heart. Wherever my holy name is chanted, that is the place where I reside. So now we see the clean potency of the place, cleanliness or the purity of the place connected to Krishna. Now coming back to our body, we have in our body also Krishna is living as a super soul. But how many of us realizing that Krishna is living in our body? Not everybody is in a position to realize that Krishna is in our body, in our heart. He is present. He is trying to guide us. He is trying to give the instructions. Right? How many of us will realize? Not everybody is having that no idea that Krishna is residing in our heart and he is giving in. The reason is it is fully contaminated, fully conditioned, with so much dust accumulated in our heart. With that heart contaminated situation, we are not able to see Krishna, Paramatma, the Supreme Lord who is there as Paramatma in our heart. We are not able to see. The process, the scriptures recommending various paths. That is where when we clean our heart, when we cleanse then we can see the Krishna. Then that is where the Bhagavatam is describing the paths. There are multiple paths Bhagavatam is specifying. One path is by Ashtanga Yoga, by doing meditation, by controlling the senses, we can purify our consciousness, then we can see Paramatma. And other process is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga mainly focusing on chanting, hearing, remembering, and Krishna. That makes our consciousness pure. It cleanses heart. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned Cheto Darpana Marjanam. By cleansing our heart, we can see Krishna. We can straight away, we can see Paramatma, we can see Krishna. By doing more and more services, we can remove our contaminations. And this is another example, one pastime from Radhesham Prabhu was describing this example. In India, there was a famous, he left the body. There is a famous yoga guru called Iyengar. He was very famous in India, and there were many yoga centers outside India also. His students were running. And when His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, when he came to India in 1985 time, he learned yoga from that Iyengar yoga. He was actually Sri Vaishnava. He is a follower of Ramanuja Sampradaya, Sri Vaishnava. But he is teaching yoga. And so many people learning yoga from him, and the people are all over the world also, many places his yoga studio centers were established. And after some time again recently, again Maharaj met Iyengar, the yoga teacher, and then both were glorifying each other. Radhanath Swami Maharaj was saying that, okay, you are teaching yoga all over the world, many people are practicing yoga, and your students are running many centers all over the world. They are doing a very great job. That's why then Iyengar was telling, no, actually my service is nothing. Even though I am following Sri Sampradaya, I was teaching yoga so many years, but why people are using, in what context people are using yoga? He was telling, if I have some neck pain, what yoga I have to do? If I have some other leg pain, which yoga I have to perform? Or if I have some other disease, some disease I have, so to recover from what yoga? So this is the level people are using yoga in the current context. Actual purpose of the yoga, the people are not understanding. Then that Iyengar was glorifying Maharaj. You are actually doing the real service. You are teaching Western American, you came India and you took the Vaishnava philosophy and preaching everywhere, singing, glorifying Krishna. So you are doing better service. But whatever yoga I taught, people are not using the People are not understanding the real context of yoga. So what he was telling that if the mind is connected with the senses, people are just in the normal yoga, what is happening? Mind is connected to the senses. When it is mind is connected to the senses, it's outward. So the senses wanted to grab everything, whatever it is interacting in the external world. So that's why what will happen? Our degradation will start. Senses will try to, whatever object it sees, it try to enjoy. So that is where the mind is interacting, engaged, connected to the senses. Senses will connect to the objects. That where our sense enjoyment starts, a degradation happening. But when the mind is connected to intelligence and the super soul, that is where it's inward. Then the actual purification side. This is the essence of yoga. People don't understand this yoga, Ashtanga yoga, and people are using in a different construct. And then what he did, that time when the Maharaj met, it was 92 years. He was, the Iyengar was 92 years old. And finally, he wrote a book called Core Yoga. There, he mentioned actual, as per the Patanjali and all the standards, what exactly the core yoga, he mentioned in that one, and he left the body. After writing the book, at the age of 95, he left. But what he was saying is, at least I conveyed in my book what is the essence of yoga. Then now people's choice, what is it and how they can take, it's their choice. But at least from my side, he was telling that I conveying through this book. So this is where the people, in the current age, the people are practicing yoga, but they don't understand the right context of yoga, and that's where people are misleading. In other side, the many, like the Maharajas, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, many other people, the devotees, great devotees, they following the Vaishnava philosophy, they are following the Bhakti yoga, they are helping all many other devotees to get benefit of using the Bhakti yoga. So this is a slight comparison between the Bhakti yoga and Ashtanga yoga. So the another comparison between the Ashtanga yoga, Bhakti yoga is like, when we do the main process, there are 8, in Ashtanga yoga we have 8 stages: Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. These are the various stages, right? So when we do this, the major thing is controlling the mind is important, right? So when we do yoga, we try to control the mind. So we will focus on movements of mind. What is where our mind is going? If it is trying in a wrong path, we try to bring him. So always our focus is to control the mind. This is the process we follow in Ashtanga yoga. But when we do Bhakti yoga, what we do? We do chant. There also we try to focusing on mind. Both the Ashtanga yoga we focus on mind, and Bhakti yoga we focus on mind. The difference is, in Ashtanga yoga, you try to control, as an individual, you try to take charge of controlling the mind. But whereas in Bhakti yoga, what we see? We chant Krishna, we pray Krishna, we surrender to Krishna, and we ask Krishna to take control over it. We feel it as a helpless state, and we feel that, and we ask the Krishna, Supreme Lord, to take control of our mind. That is the difference between the Ashtanga yoga. In one angle, when we see the comparison of mind, in the Ashtanga yoga, they try to control the mind. In Bhakti yoga, we give it to Krishna. That's where we hear the bhajan. Bhajavure mana Srinanda Nandana Abhaya Charanaravindare Durlabha Manava Janama Satsanga Tarahore Baba Sindure. The translation is saying that, O mind, just worship the lotus feet of the son of Nanda, which make one fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons. So, our great Acharya is saying that fix your mind on Supreme Lord. That is our Bhakti yoga. This is the simple. We are not trying, we are not taking charge of mind to control. Rather, we are relying on, dependent on our spiritual master, senior Vaishnavas and Supreme Lord to take charge of our mind. This is one of the important comparison when we see the Bhakti yoga and Ashtanga yoga. Another comparison is like Bhakti yoga is like in a Ashtanga yoga, is like Bhakta is like in a Bhakti yoga. So Bhakta is like a child, is dependent on mother. Like say everything we pray Lord to help us, to protect us, to take care of us, right? We pray Supreme Lord. We are not trying to become the Lord it over this thing. We are completely surrendered. So we are like a child taking the help of a mother. Whereas in Ashtanga yoga is like a independent youth. When you go from childhood to youth, you want to be more independent. You want to take care of everything on your own. So it's like Ashtanga yoga is like a youth who wanted complete independence. Bhakti yoga, Bhakta is like a child dependent on mother. Now, when we compare in Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, there are in Ashtanga Yoga we see various process. Like the final stage is dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Those are the final stages. To get into that stage, we have to do so many other things: yama, niyama, asana, pratyahara. Right? These are very. So when you do perfectly those things, then you reach the dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. See, like the difference between the dharana and dhyana. See, at the neophyte stage, when people start Ashtanga Yoga, because there are the neophyte yoga, Ashtanga Yoga means they don't have any complete understanding on a God. Some people may feel that, okay, God does not exist, right? So he is having conditioned and materially conditioned and degraded person. He cannot see the God. Then since he cannot see the God, what he thinks, okay, God doesn't exist. Then, but so to make him when in the Ashtanga, if he follows Ashtanga Yoga, then how he can meditate on Lord? That is where the initial stage, they will meditate on universal form. What is that universal form? They see all the various elements in the material world and they comparing with the limbs of Supreme Lord. Like example, big mountains are like bones of Supreme Lord, and the sun and moon like eyes, two eyes. Like that, when you compare these material elements in this current universe with the Supreme Lord, then they can connect, oh, he is the Lord. So this is the universal form. As per our Bhagavatam, it is bona fide. It's not a real form of Krishna, but to make people connect to Krishna at the initial stage, the neophyte stage, in the Ashtanga Yogis, they meditate on universal form. Like and some in another analogy, like different planets, like different limbs of the body, Krishna. Right? That is how the people connect, and then they will meditate. The neophyte stage, they will meditate on different forms of Krishna. That way, they will be connecting to Krishna. That is at the neophyte stage of dhyana, the dharana. And when they advance, then they will connect to the Supreme. Then they will be, their consciousness, their understanding will develop. Then they will connect to the Paramatma and Krishna. Then they do the dhyana, and then they get into the samadhi state. But now, same process how we do in Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga also, we need to meditate on Krishna. How that meditation we will develop. Like take example of Mother Rukmini. So when his brother wanted to marry Rukmini to other demons, like other kings, so she sent a letter to Krishna through Brahmana for helping her to get the help from Krishna. So what happened? Then Krishna was asking how she got to know about me. Then the Brahmana was telling that she was continuously hearing in the assembly of Rukmini's father assembly. There continuously glorification and chanting of Krishna is happening. Right? So when she constantly hearing, then she developed the attraction towards Krishna. This is all Bhakti Yoga. We don't need to sit and meditate and do something. Just you hear the Krishna Katha, you constantly remember, then you will be absorbed in Krishna. Same thing we can observe in the case of Mother Rukmini. She also did remember completely meditating on Krishna, and finally she developed attraction towards Krishna. So this is the path. Same way the message is for us is we need to, from the childhood, we need to develop that process in the kids to connect to telling the stories of Krishna, showing the pictures of Krishna, but various Supreme Lord and various incarnations. That way they connected to Krishna. As you constantly listen, the meditation is not, it will be our meditation. Meditation bhakti is not a difficult process. As and when you constantly develop this behavior, like listening Krishna Katha, seeing Krishna's image, photos and deities, from childhood, gradually you will develop that meditation. So your mind will be absorbed with Krishna every time. So this is the Bhakti Yoga. The difference between, so from the childhood you practice remembering Krishna, then your meditation will be easy. That is what we can see in the example of Mother Rukmini. So when we do the Ashtanga Yoga, our senses will be purified. That is right. Then we start seeing Paramatma in our heart. So here how our senses will be purified in Bhakti Yoga? But by engaging our senses in various services. By seeing Lord, with our eyes will be purified. By listening Krishna Katha, our ears will be purified. By chanting the holy name, by eating prasadam, our tongue will be purified. Like the Ambarish Maharaj example, right? All the senses he was engaging in. Similarly, when we perform all these activities, devotional activities, our senses will be purified. Whereas in Ashtanga Yoga, you have to do Like if you see the Dhruva Maharaj in, it's almost 6 months severe Ashtanga Yoga. Then he was able to see Krishna. Again, Ashtanga Yoga with Bhakti. He was, Narada Muni gave Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. The chanting the holy name also he gave the instruction. So combining two, he was able to see in 6 months. But in the current age of Kali, we can't do such a Ashtanga Yoga. So we have to focus on chanting the holy name. So then, and engaging all senses in different services, then our senses will be purified. So both Ashtanga Yoga purifies the senses, Bhakti Yoga purifies the senses. Process is easy in Bhakti Yoga, whereas it is difficult in Ashtanga Yoga. And another thing is, in the pranayama, one of the important thing is controlling the mind. Right? So through how you do? Breathing exercise. Anulom, Vilom, all the various things are there in Ashtanga Yoga, right? So by doing that, our senses, we try to control the mind. Whereas in the Bhakti Yoga, we already discussed chanting and meditating. What is the difference between this meditation process in Bhakti Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga? In Bhakti, like if suppose you take a glass of water and put a sand in the water, what will happen? After some time, all the sand will be settled in the bottom of the glass, right? So similarly, if you take a grass in your backyard, if it is grass is very big, you cut it, right? So you will make it flat. Same way, when you do Ashtanga Yoga, all our desires will be settled. It will not be removed. It will be settled underneath. Like similar to how the glass of water with sand, everything sand is settled under the bottom of the glass. Same way, when we try to do all this meditation through Ashtanga Yoga, what will happen? All our desires will be settled under. So, but when we do Bhakti Yoga, when we do chant, what will happen? It will completely remove the desires. That is where we see in the case of Dhruva Maharaj story. What happened? He was chanting the holy name, and Dhruva Maharaj, when Lord Vishnu appeared, he said, I don't have any desires now. All the desires are removed. The same thing. So, Ashtanga Yoga, desires will remain there, but it will not come out. But when in Bhakti Yoga, all the desires will be removed. That is the difference between Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And this is in the Bhagavatam also, in the Bhakti Yoga, in a second canto also, it was saying that Brahma has studied Vedas, all the scriptures, 3 times, very thoroughly. And with that conclusion, he was mentioning that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. Not Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So, it's the various references were there in our Bhagavatam. So, it is a Bhakti Yoga is the topmost and easy for the current age. So, we all have to follow the Bhakti Yoga. It is easy process. It's recommended process in the Kali Yuga. So, we all have to chant the holy name, listen Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha, eat prasadam, associate with the devotees. That is our yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. We don't need to go for Ashtanga Yoga. But this is the Bhakti Yoga is the process. Bhakti Yoga is recommended for Kali Yuga. So, this is same thing. In our current verse, the comparison was mentioned between Bhakti Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. So, I will conclude here. Any comments? Any questions? Yes, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, I don't have the straight direct answer, but what I can, based on my understanding, what I can tell, see, these scriptures are giving this Diga Dharma. All the Vedas are coming from Krishna. So, that's my understanding connection. So, he knows everything. What is the capability of each person in each yuga? So, accordingly, he is prescribing all the scriptures, and people can follow, and that's the. Yes. Yes. See, this was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu changed because this sampradaya is like where we are worshipping Radha and Krishna. So that's the reason he changed it in a or changed the order of. But first time you change the order, you start with Hare Krishna, but later you don't find any difference if you singing continuously. So since we are worshippers of Radha and Krishna, so that was the reason. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।